The Devils take on the Blue Jackets, and that's going to be a 7 o'clock Eastern puck drop in Columbus, Ohio. The Blue Jackets are the $2 favorite at home, total at 5.5. Not a whole lot of movement on this total, although we did see a 10-cent move toward Columbus in the early wagering. They open as the $1.90 favorite, up to minus $2. Totals at 5.5. 73% of the consensus are leaning toward Columbus. 58% shaded toward the over. And right now the Devils are plus $1.70 on the money line. Columbus plus, excuse me, plus 150 on the puck line. Merzlikins for the Blue Jackets. Schneider for the Devils. Columbus is 7-2 straight up in their last 9. They also rank at the top 3 in goals allowed in the NHL. New Jersey on the other side, they rank in the bottom 10 in road scoring, and they have won just 10 out of their 24 road games this season. Now Columbus is 4-0 to the under in their last 4 games. I'm going to lean Blue Jackets minus 1.5 and the under 5.5 in that game. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines and personal leans out for Saturday's NHL action. Happy Saturday to you. Hopefully you guys out there are having a great weekend, a well-deserved weekend. Now, before we go ahead and dive into some more free lines and personal leans right here on YouTube, I just want to quickly remind you once again to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage, where we do daily premium sports picks on that website, beginning at just $1.99 per month. We're currently 6-2 in our last 8 daily best plays on that site. The daily best play is a membership that I offer on that site, and that membership is just $1.99 per month. So if you want to go 6-2, or if you wish you had gone 6-2 in your last 8, certainly the Patreon website is a great way to do that. The link for that website to join that package is right in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. Now, you might be wondering, well, why would I pay for your website when you're giving me the picks for free here on YouTube? And of course, that's a great thought. That's a great question. I've thought the same thing myself. But, you're exactly right. I do free plays here on YouTube. But the problem with that is if you were to bet your hard-earned money on every single game, side and total, you're guaranteed to lose in the long run. It's just way too many games. The math becomes egregiously against you when you bet that many games. So what I do on Patreon is I make it a lot easier for you. I don't do every game. I really narrow it down and focus in on 3 to 4 premium selections per day. They're games that I personally have action on, and I'll tell you this much, my current record on Patreon is a whole lot better than it is, throwing darts here on YouTube, picking every game under the sun, not taking any free passes. The reason why I don't take free passes or do stay away games is because, if I'm going to take your time from you, I'm not going to break down a game for 5 minutes and then tell you I'm not picking anything. So I do like to do you the favor of giving you an opinion on a side and a total in every single game. But please, I'm begging you, do not bet that way. Do not bet every single game, side and total. That's what Patreon's for, to narrow it down and focus in on 3 to 4 premium selections per day. Once again, feel free to check out my current record. It's right on the homepage. Once again, patreon.com/BrockPage. All right, let's go ahead and get into some more of the free content here. Right here on YouTube, all starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got the Kings taking on the Flyers, 7 o'clock Eastern puck drop in South Philly. The Flyers opened as the $1.65 favorite. They're down to minus 150. Total open 6, down to 5.5. 66% of the consensus are leaning toward Philadelphia. 74% shaded toward the over. Right now the Kings are plus 130 on the money line. Philly plus $1.60 on the puck line. We have Elliott for the Flyers, Quick for the Kings. Philly's 15-4-4 at the Wells Fargo Center. They're also ranking in the top 3 in goals allowed at home. The Kings on the other side, losers of 6 out of their last 7. They also rank in the bottom 3 in the NHL in scoring on average per game. Oddly enough, the Kings are 3-1 to the over in their last 4. Meanwhile, 2 out of Philly's last 3 got over the number as well. I'm going to lean Flyers minus $1.50 at home and the over 5.5 in that contest. Next game, Blackhawks, Maple Leafs, 7 o'clock Toronto. The Leafs open 205, down to minus 200, total 6.5. 64% are leaning Toronto, 69% shaded toward the over. Right now, Chicago's plus $1.70 on the money line. Toronto plus 115 on the puck line. Anderson for the Leafs, Crawford for the Blackhawks. Toronto's dropped 4 out of their last 5 games. They're also just 9-15 against the spread at home. And of course, when I refer to the spread in the NHL, I'm referring to the puck line. Now, Chicago on the other side, winners of their last 3 straight, 16-7 against the spread when traveling. And total-wise, we're looking at a Toronto squad who's 70% to the over in their last 10. I'm going to lean Chicago plus 1.5 and the over 6.5 in that contest. Next game. Predators taking on the Red Wings. I'm sorry, I was going to say I'm confused. Panthers taking on the Red Wings. 7 o'clock Eastern puck drop in Detroit. Of course, Detroit almost knocking off the Penguins last night. Took them to OT. Of course, lost. But anyway, Florida opened 225 up to minus 240. Total opened 6.5 down to 6 flat. 72% are leaning Florida. 69% shaded toward the over. Detroit is the $2 underdog at home. Picard for the Red Wings. Bobrovsky for the Panthers. Detroit's last in scoring, last in goals allowed. Worst record in the NHL, fewest points in the NHL as well. Florida 12-8 against the spread when traveling, 3-0 straight up in their last 3 contests. Florida's 31-15 to the over on the season. Give me the Panthers minus 1.5 and the over 6 goals in that contest. Golden Knights, Canadiens next game, 7 o'clock Montreal. The Knights open $1.20 up to $1.25. Total open 5.5 up to 6. 61% leaning Golden Knights, 59% toward the over. Right now, Montreal is plus 105 on the money line. Golden Knights plus 210 on the puck line. Fleury for the Knights, Price for the Canadiens. Montreal's just 3-7 straight up in their last 10. They're also 9-12-4 at home this year, really struggling on their home ice. They rank in the bottom 5 in home scoring as well. Vegas on the other side, they rank in the top 3 in the NHL in offensive shots per game. They're also in the top 10 in goals allowed on the road. Vegas 70% to the over in their last 10. Give me the Golden Knights minus $1.25 and the over 6 goals in that contest. Next game, Sabres taking on the Predators. 8 o'clock Eastern puck drop in the Music City. Nashville's minus $1.85. Totals at 6. Now, we haven't seen a whole lot of movement on this total, but we did see a nickel move toward the Preds in the early wagering. They open $1.80 up to minus 185. Totals at 6. 52% are leaning Nashville. 65% shaded toward the over. Right now, Buffalo is plus 165 on the money line. Nashville plus $1.35 on the puck line. We have Rene for the Preds. Ullmark for the Sabres. Nashville's just 8-15 against the spread at home. 3-7 straight up in their last 10. They rank in the bottom 5 in goals allowed on their home ice. Buffalo on the other side, winners of 5 out of their last 7. They're also 15-10 against the spread when traveling. Oddly enough, Buffalo's 15-10 to the over when traveling as well. I'm going to lean Buffalo plus 1.5 and the over 6 goals in that contest. Next game, Stars versus the Wild, 9 o'clock Minnesota. The Stars are minus 120, totals at 5 flat. We did see a nickel move toward Dallas. No movement on this total as of yet. Maybe we'll see it get down to 4.5. Who knows? Dallas opened $1.15 up to minus 120. Total open and remains at 5. 65% are leaning Dallas. 63% shaded toward the over. Right now, Minnesota's catching even money for a straight-up win. Dallas plus 220, laying the goal and a half. We have Hudobin for the Stars. Stalock for Minnesota. Minnesota's just 2-6 straight up in their last 8. They rank in the bottom 5 in offensive shots, bottom 5 in goals allowed. Meanwhile, Dallas on the other side, winners of 7 out of their last 9. They also rank in the top 5 in goals allowed on the road. Dallas 32-15 to the under on the year. Give me the Stars minus 120 and the under 5 goals in that contest. Next and final matchup for the show, it is going to be Sharks taking on the Canucks. 10 o'clock Vancouver. The Canucks open $1.55 down to minus 145. Totals at 6. 68% are leaning Vancouver. 71% shaded toward the over. Right now the Sharks are plus $1.25 on the money line. Vancouver plus 160 on the puck line. We have Demko for Vancouver. Dell for the Sharks. Vancouver's 15-5-3 at home. They rank in the top 5 in home scoring. The Sharks have lost 4 out of their last 6 themselves. They're also just 8, 13, and 3 when traveling. The Sharks rank in the bottom 3 in offensive shots. Meanwhile, 7 out of their last 9 games did stay under the total. Vancouver, on the other side, 3-0 to the under in their last 3 themselves. I'm going to lean Vancouver minus 145 and the under 6 goals in that game.